Welcome to Forum 360. Thank you for joining us for a global outlook with a local view. I'm Leslie Unger, your host today. In the 60s, they called them the peanut butter generation. Young people getting on buses to campaign for Bobby Kennedy for president. As they descended from the buses to canvass door to door, they would be handed peanut butter sandwiches. Our young people today push the boundaries way past county, state, and even country borders. In their quest to do good, these young men and women visit countries on educational trips that were unimaginable just a few years ago. More than 100 years ago, philosopher William James said, "Act as if what you do makes a difference." It does. Our guests today have embraced this philosophy, not just in what they say, but in what they do. Olivia has recently returned from a trip to Europe, where she visited the Auschwitz concentration camp, among other sites. With no direct Jewish background, she wanted to see for herself what history looked like, whether it was standing near a gas chamber or at the Berlin Wall. Kristen went to Nicaragua this summer on her 4th mission to the same community. Living with families for a week each year in this Spanish-speaking country has inspired her to this fall study international business with an interest in Spanish. We welcome Olivia Valentine, an incoming sophomore at Copley High School, and Kristen Maimone, starting her freshman year at the University of Cincinnati. I welcome you both. And thank you for making time to come visit us in your international travels.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Olivia, I'm going to start with you. Since you returned virtually, really days ago, first tell us where you went and why you chose to go on this trip.
Okay, so we first headed to Berlin, Germany, and then we went to Warsaw, and then Krakow, and then we went down to Prague, kind of by Czechoslovakia, Public, all that fun stuff. So I think I really wanted to go because I kind of learned a little, and I'll talk more about it, is we hear a lot about what Jewish people had to go through during the Holocaust, and I don't think we always realized that there was an end, there was a beginning point, and then there was a middle, and then there was an end. So it was like, I really wanted to see not only the middle part, but I also wanted to see how it was beforehand, how it was after, like how it really experienced it and not just hear it through a book or see it through photographs that I've seen 100 times in school.
And before we go on, let me ask you, what was one thing that was different about being there and seeing it that people might say, well, you know, you can see it virtually, you can see it on YouTube, you can see it, you know, on Zoom. What was something that you can think of that was different being there in person?
I think the feeling of it. I can't get a feeling, I mean, you can, but not like it really is. Like the feeling of just physically being there. Like I know when I was at Auschwitz, the physical feeling of being in such a place of just horrible actions that happened, just physically knowing that like that happened and feeling that and like accepting that feeling and trying to work through that feeling. I can't get that through a YouTube video that someone filmed 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely the feeling of it that's different.
Okay, good to know for people out there wondering, you know, why these amazing trips. So Kristen,
yeah.
Kristen, want to make sure I pronounced it correctly. You returned about a month ago, right? So tell us where you went on this trip, because you've been on other trips that we will get to, but on this trip, where you went and why you chose this trip.
Right, okay. So this trip we went to Nicaragua, it's in Central America, and we stayed in Ciudad Sandina, which is about like an hour away from the capital city of Managua. And we chose to go here. My mom and I have been there 3 previous years, so this is our 4th year.
And had it not been for COVID, it would probably been like your 6th year,
yes,
right?
I think, yeah. I think, yes, the 6th year, because, there was 2 years that we couldn't go. But we chose this trip because the first year we just really felt a calling in our hearts, and we just had such an amazing, unique, and powerful experience when we first went, and we just decided that as many years as we can go in the future, we're going to try to go as like every year, Lord
Now,
willing.
since you go to the same place each year, so do you see some of the same people?
Yes, which is really, really nice and cool. Like, since we have gone for other years, I know these people and we both know each other, and we are able to keep in touch through social media and Facebook. But it's nice catching up with them and learning what has gone on in their lives and telling them what's gone on in mine. And
Now, what are some things that you would do when you go to this community? What are some things you would do either with or for these people?
okay, there's different teams so that you can sign up for. So there's like construction, medical, and children's and Bible distribution. So I've been on the children's and Bible distribution every year that I can choose. So what that looks like is we have a children's camp, or a VBS usually, in the beginning of the day, and we just set up games and activities and have a little sermon for them. And then later in the day we go to a different neighborhood and pair up with a church in that neighborhood, and we go around, split up in teams, and distribute Bibles to a bunch of different houses, which is just one thing that you don't really think about, like, oh, passing out Bibles, because like everyone seems to have a Bible here. They're at every hotel room, you know, but it's not a very common thing to have your own Bible, especially there. So we are able to bless families with something as little as that.
So that's something that you learn about other countries, that everyone doesn't necessarily have a Bible, but I want you to kind of turn that upside down. I think that when we travel, we learn a lot about ourselves, and we also learn things about our country that we learn by leaving it, right? Is there something that you can share with us that you either learned about yourself or that you learned about, the country because you traveled outside of it? Whoever wants to, Olivia, you want to answer?
Sure. I think, so I've also kind of relating to what you've been doing. I've done a couple missions trips all over the place, but last year I actually went to Mexico, and we kind of did the same thing. And I think looking at kind of the community around, like, you see how much, like, they're always like in foreign countries, like, oh, they don't have as much as us. But they may not have as much as us, but they have so much joy and so much light.
Yeah.
Like, they may lack in like physical items, but they never lack in joy and love, and they're always so happy, and they're so friendly. Like, other places, like, they'll have a conversation with you like right on the street.
And they're very welcoming to America.
Yes, they're very welcoming, and you think that they would be like, kind of annoyed, or like, oh, like, I'm sure you don't really want to talk to me, you just want to see the sights. But they'll open up to you and they'll have a full conversation. I know on the trains in different places that we went on planes, like, we just got to know like these people that are locals, and we would talk to them and we would be like, hey, like, what's the best place that we can go for ice cream or dinner or best sights? And like, they're open to it and they want to show their community off. So it's really amazing how they just love where they are, and they're so accepting of other people.
Yeah, I had the same experience, I'd say, like, just you said they don't have as much physical things, but they're not lacking at all in just the joy and presence, and yeah, it's great. One thing you asked, what did we learn about ourselves? One thing I learned about myself is that my comfort zone can be very restrictive, which is like a given because it's called a comfort zone, but I definitely was pushed way out of my comfort zone, more than I've ever gone. And I just learned that I'm able to do a lot more than I think I can do. Yeah. And it was just really cool, like, seeing that part of myself. Yeah.
Which kind of leads me to, summer may seem long. At your age, summer may seem long, but it goes pretty fast. And I imagine you could have stayed and worked, or you could have volunteered somewhere here in your own communities, but you chose to repeatedly travel somewhere. So, as a communication coach, I find that people are always scared of the why question, but I'm going to ask you, why, from your perspective, was it important enough for you to choose to take a week or two, whatever time you took, away from your family and your friends and go to another place?
Right.
Why was that important for you?
Yeah. This year especially, I was very hesitant to go because it is 10 days and I just graduated high school. I'm going to be leaving for college, and actually a week now. So I want to spend time with family and friends that I won't be able to see as much. So I was just very hesitant to go, but ultimately I made the decision that I know I should go because I know I'll have a good and important time there, and I'm very glad I made that choice. But it's definitely hard. I know that the experiences and lessons that I would learn would be pay off more than just
And they
staying
were.
at home. And they were.
And they
yes, for sure.
And you can take that with you now as you start school and say, starting a new school is nothing after going to a foreign country, right?
Yes.
Olivia, why? Why do you choose to leave your pets and your family? Why?
I think it's definitely, I like talking about comfort zone, I'm comfortable in my house, I'm comfortable in my bed, I'm comfortable with the people around me, but not everybody else has the same walk of life that I do. And I want to experience what they have to go through or what they get to go through. Just being able to go to Germany and see the walk of life that they had to live in a time that they didn't choose this. I have been gifted to be living here in a privileged life. They didn't get that choice. So I want to feel, I want to understand, and I want to learn anything that I can about how their life was. So just being able to learn and step and walk in different atmospheres, different cultures, different people's shoes. I just love being able to learn about people and how they outlook on life, because all of us have different outlooks.
Is there one thing, and both of you are well-traveled, but as you think about Nicaragua, you also did Europe, and you also did concentration camps, and you've done different mission trips. Is there one thing that stands out from all of your trips that is one memory that stands out the most? Is there one memory, one person, one event that comes to mind first?
I think I'll talk a little bit about, so I went to the Berlin Wall, and I really like to read. So it was a very interesting feeling to be physically there. A really big lesson thing that I noticed when I was at both Auschwitz and the Berlin Wall is this isn't just a story that we're told years after years in the same pictures. This is a physical thing. Standing at the Berlin Wall and seeing this huge wall that people were trapped behind just because the government wanted them to be behind there. They wanted to control them. Or being at Auschwitz and physically walking under a gate that millions walked in and never came out. And I get to. Just being able to be there is just such an out-of-body experience. And it was amazing because then I noticed that I have all this freedom and they didn't. And it's such a gift. I think whenever I travel and go to a different place, I realize how much I'm gifted with. I always come back grateful for anything that I have, even if it's just the pillow and the blanket that I have to sleep with, because I know people don't have that. In the comforts, going to Auschwitz and seeing the wooden racks that they had to sleep on. I get a bed and a comforter, just realizing what I have and what I don't, and that these are real things that happen. A real person had to sleep on that, 4 of them to be exact, or more.
Right.
It's always a grateful experience, and just the fact that it's not a tale that we just get told. And I think that's what we feel like sometimes when we're here. It's literally across the ocean. Yeah, that's far away, but it happened. It's not another tale that never happened. Because sometimes we can't relate to it. We just see pictures of it.
Right. Is there a person that comes to mind, or an event, or city?
Yeah, an event. So I actually have 2. So
Okay.
one is in a concentration camp as well. I went to Dachau in Germany. I think it's near Munich. But it was just that surreal feeling, and just feeling of gratefulness that we don't have to live like that. But also it's just the feeling oh, that happened, and there was physical people here and in this life, and yeah, that just really stuck out to me, and it touched me in a way that nothing else ever has. And also when I went to Nicaragua, I think it was this year, yeah, we were going out for Bible distribution, and there was this one house, and it was a woman and her husband, and in that house they had 3 or 4 pigs, a bunch of chickens and dogs, and it was just right when you walk in the house. They didn't have a backyard farm. It's just right there, and it just really, I had to stand there and just think for a second, this is what they live in every day, and they're so happy, and they invited us into their home. Like, they're happy to be showing us their home and talk to us for 30 minutes. They talked to us for a while, but it's just like, it just really makes me appreciative and for what I have, and that these other people are willing to show me, share their life. And
Did you want to take any of those animals home with you? I would have wanted to take some
no,
of those. No,
I'm not
okay,
super big with animals.
Okay.
And they were a little smelly.
They were a little smelly.
Yeah.
Take a pig for the plane ride home.
Yeah.
That's
Put it in
right.
the carry-on.
That's right.
Yeah,
no one
animals
will
aren't my
notice.
big thing.
I want to reintroduce our guest today. We are talking about amazing young people who have traveled the world to learn and to do good. We are talking with Olivia Valentine, an incoming sophomore at Copley High School, who's recently been to Poland and Germany, and Kristen Maimone, who was in Nicaragua with the summer, but her travels have included Germany and Europe and different places that she has also gone. Now, I believe both of you went to Philadelphia on mission trips. Is that right?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
You went, but you went somewhere else.
I went
Domestically. You've gone to, so you've both gone domestically. Is it different traveling domestically than it is internationally?
I would think so. I like being, because I went to Philadelphia for probably 5 or 6 years, and even though it's close to home, it's still like a different place. It's a different atmosphere. Their houses, they have row houses, so they're literally one after the other. And they don't have as much space as us, but it feels like a different place. And it's still, even though it's people that are close to us that are home, they're still different. Like, I don't know, it's just a different atmosphere, and they still need as much love as people do in foreign countries. Like, they still are joyful, and they also still don't have as much as we do, even though they do live in America, and they do have privileges that some people don't. Like, they still need some things, and they still need love, but they're still so friendly and house opening. Like, I've definitely been in houses down there and been in communities, and they are so excited to just show off everything that they do have. So if you had a choice of taking a week and going somewhere on a mission trip, domestically or internationally, what would you choose?
I think I would stick to international.
Yeah.
Because, well, I went on one mission trip to West Virginia, and it was just a little different. Do you know how sometimes they have those Christmas trees and you like pick a little ornament and you buy presents for them? That's what we did. So we brought all those presents from our church there, and we just set up like I don't know, like a hangout, like worship thing. So it wasn't as much like within the community. It was kind of just like you just are loving on them, and it wasn't, I can't think of what I'm trying to say, but it wasn't
but you still
as
got
much
to
like
see
an action.
some of parts of West Virginia that many, many, many Americans will never.
Right. But I do enjoy the going internationally and just learning of a whole new culture and way of life.
Which is why
and
you're
living
majoring in
language.
international
Yes.
business, right?
Yes.
And not just business. I
Right.
get it. All the pieces are coming
Yes.
together. I feel a need to apologize to you for the state of the world that you're inheriting. If we could fast forward 20 years, okay, and you are now 35 and 38, how would the world be different if your magic wand worked and you could change it in any way?
I think I'd say just be kind to others. I mean, it's everyone says it, but
I wish everyone did say
I wish
it.
yeah.
Maybe everyone
Said
you
it
know
and did
says
it.
it. I wish
That's
everyone
true,
did
and
say
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and acted on it, because you just really never know what is going on in other people's lives, and it's just a waste of time to just be rude, and just be kind and love everyone else.
It's a good thought. And how would the world be different if you could wave your magic wand?
I would kind of improve like healthcare, or like the way that people like living conditions. So I want to be a surgeon, an orthopedic surgeon, but I really have thought about traveling internationally to different places that don't have all of the fancy equipment that we have, but just that people are taken care of, and like there's so many places that I've been that are just filthy or unclean for someone to be living in, and they just don't get the resources that they should have. Just being able to have everybody seen in their conditions and be able to be taken care of. Like maybe they won't have financial help to be able to do that, but they could. Like just better health care for people who are injured. Like there's so many people, like, so I work with homeless people sometimes. There's so many people who have needs or injuries that have gotten infected and they can't take care of them. So unfortunately they either have to cut off a limb or suffer with the infection. Just be able to have places that like they can go to, they can get taken care of. So just to care for people in ways that they need to be cared of.
Pretty basic, huh?
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be pretty basic. You both believe in the power of volunteering. You know, even at your ages, you had options. You could have worked the time that you traveled. Not that you aren't still working, but you could have worked the time that you're traveling. Why do you make time to volunteer in a world with so many things vying for your time? Why is volunteering important to you? Because I think it's important to your generation, and even the generation before you has made volunteering very important. But what does it call to you, or what does it say to you?
I can't buy joy. That's just the main I can't buy it, but I can give it to other people and I can feel it. I can work millions and hundreds of hours on a job that maybe I don't even like, but I love seeing smiling faces on little kids when you give them candy or you give them a high five. Like that's stuff that I can never buy. And just being able to be there, and also when people find out that you're volunteering, not that like I want the credit for it, but like when you go to somebody like in Philadelphia or in Mexico and they're like, what are you here for? And we're like, oh, we're just volunteering, we're just here for a week. And they're like shocked that somebody is willing to and wants to, but I so much want to. Like when the time comes where you have to leave, you're like, I don't want to. I don't want to leave. I want to keep being down here.
Time well spent.
Yes.
So why would you say volunteering calls to you, and really in your family?
I'd say I just love learning about other people and just other ways of life and cultures. That's always been something that really interests me. So even domestically here, but I love just really just connecting with people and learning what they've gone through and what. Yeah.
And how
I think
is
that's
your Spanish?
It's pretty good.
Pretty
I
good?
mean, well, not really. I took 2 years of it in middle school, and then I did sign language in high school. But since we do go to Nicaragua,
Right.
I'm able to.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah,
Nothing
and they're
like-
very understanding and helping, like with my Spanish.
Now,
but
do they speak English?
No.
No.
Well, no.
So you
Not very many
need
of
to
them.
speak Spanish to communicate.
Yes, actually, when we were doing Bible distribution one time, at one point, it was literally me and like 3 local natives like going around the streets, and I was like, no one speaks English except for me, and I don't speak very well Spanish, but you know, it worked out perfectly. But yeah,
Good.
I definitely.
Did you learn how to ask for where's the bathroom? Now,
Yes,
that was
I
one
do
of my
know
first
that. I do
questions.
know
Okay,
that.
just making sure. Just
Yes.
making sure.
No, it's gotten
In the
better.
time that we have remaining, I'm going to ask for just 1 or 2 word answers, which may not seem fair. But my first question is, what do you think most people get wrong about your generation? I know it's a tough one, but in a word or 2, can you answer it?
That we are all selfish. We are all conceited.
And that's wrong.
Yes, that is
Definitely wrong.
completely wrong.
Yeah, I
Kirsten?
think people just like underestimate our like knowledge and willingness to do these things.
Great things.
Great things like
Great
this.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. In a word or 2, how did COVID affect your schooling?
It was challenging, and then I didn't feel like I was getting everything that I needed to, and it felt out of reach.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, and I just felt very disconnected, and I honestly struggled with just learning the material.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now some fun ones. Favorite performing artist?
Oh.
Is there a favorite?
I don't know. I like a lot. I know I know everybody, but I like the cute little outfits of Taylor Swift and her little era going on right now.
No, I love Taylor Swift. She's
I
my
was
favorite.
even thinking Taylor Swift.
No,
okay.
she's my
She's on
favorite.
everybody's mind.
I love her.
I was just looking at
love
she was
her.
rocking Versace and Cavelli, so I was even thinking her.
Yes.
A favorite food? What is the favorite food of an almost
tacos.
16-year-old?
Tacos, absolutely.
And going to college, what is your favorite food?
Say pasta as a general.
Yes.
As a
Yes.
general. Yes.
A favorite book that you're reading or that you've read any time in your school career?
My favorite book is Not If I Save You First. That is my favorite book.
Okay. I think The Book Thief is one of my favorites.
Okay. Do you have a favorite Netflix, Hulu, Amazon binge? Any favorite there?
Not really. I kind of watch a lot of things.
Yeah, I have a lot.
Definitely.
I am watching Modern Family right now, and I'm really loving
That
that.
one's so funny.
Yeah.
Can you tell us quickly why you picked University of Cincinnati?
I really wasn't gonna. It wasn't on my radar really, and then I visited it, and I just felt it inside of me, like I need to go here. And it's a really great school for business.
And you know, a president of a
internships.
university once told me, if you just leave it up to your child, they will know.
Yeah, and I did.
And you did. And how, in a few words, did you pick orthopedic surgery?
I think just I've seen so many people who don't have those kind of things, like talking about the homeless people, and then also just like being able to fix people that don't have amazing health care and don't have all those amazing things. And you know, I'm so grateful for the limbs that I do have.
I just want to live long enough to come to you as my doctor. There is a saying that the power of youth is the common wealth for the entire world. Our guests today, Olivia Valentine and Kristen Maimone, have proven this saying. They use their power of youth to learn, to help, to build. Swedish activist Greta Thunberg is raising awareness of climate change. Young people everywhere are our future wealth. You don't have to look any further than the kids down the street for the wealth of things that they're doing to prepare to make the world a better place. When I was about their age, a very wise woman told me, look for ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Today we've had the honor of having two extraordinary young people. I thank you both, Ms. Olivia and Kristen. Thank you to our audience for joining us on Forum 360 for a global outlook with a local view.
Forum 360 is brought to you by John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Akron Community Foundation, Hudson Community Television, the Rubber City Radio Group, Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron, Blue Green, Electric Impulse Communications, and Forum 360 supporters.